One may wonder, why all this sudden upsurge of critical race theory, CRT, diversity and equity and inclusion, DEI, transgenderism, and ESG, environmental, social, and governance scores? Why this? Why now? What's really going on? See, if the point is to acquire power and money, which is almost always the point, in other words, one world government and the enrichment of the elite, then two large elements stand in the way: America as a democratic republic, and Christianity as the bastion of morality and truth. America must be brought down because of its stand for freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and of the press. And Christianity must be brought down for insisting that both truth and morality are objective. You see, if someone wants to bring down America and the church without military action or wholesale slaughter, then the way is clear. First, let's talk about how to bring down America. Play on the good nature of Americans and the American ideal of liberty and justice for all. Show that instead everything about America is racist, supremacist, ignorant of science, climate change, homophobic, and based in greed and power. And Americans will feel so guilty they will begin to tear each other apart, dividing parents from children and brother from brother. You see, this is not a theme that would play well in many countries of the world. Imagine this in North Korea, Iran, China, Russia, Venezuela, India, Colombia, Saudi Arabia, and dozens of others. But it does play well in the United States. Play up the angle that our history and present practice marginalize and discriminate against all the victims of society. And Americans will bend over backwards to give life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all, even if it means destroying America. But that's okay, they reasoned, because we'll build a new world order. Second, how to bring down Christianity. You change the value of everything that's been established for millennia and accuse Christians of hatefulness, bigotry, supremacism, racism, and intolerance. With the general population whipped into a gullible frenzy over these false accusations, they will not even bother to attack the church so much, but rather marginalize it into irrelevance. If in the legislation and the courts it can be established that Christians are really mentally ill, terrorists, and haters, other persecution is unnecessary. The church can be brought down by a combination of anger and laughter, legislation, and courts. In addition, since CRT, DEI, ESG, LGBT, and transgenderism is the pursuit of fools, there is little effective rational response to them, since rational has never been part of the movements. Logic and evidence are prima facie rejected, leaving truth and morality with nothing to say. Since they automatically reject evidence, truth, and morality as being disqualified from the conversation. You see, if the condition of the debate is no logic is allowed, how is one to argue? So that's why this. It works in America. But what about the why now? It's because the time is right for it. Truth, logic, reason, and morality have been systematically reduced through the last decades, educating right out of people who have been trained, indoctrinated, to think in completely different ways, such that we now have a Supreme Court justice who doesn't even know what a woman is, professors who find racism in highways and math, government officials who legislate and applaud immorality, judiciaries that favor the criminals over the victims, and journalists who long ago repudiated objectivity. None of this would have been possible 50 years ago. And such a strategy would not work in many regions of the world, besides America and Western Europe. In the 19th century, Theodore Parker, and in the 20th century, Martin Luther King Jr., both perceived what they call a moral arc, that humanity was bending towards justice. It rests on the premise that science will lead humanity to truth, justice, and freedom, a common Luciferian conviction. Societies characterized by democracy, literacy, and human rights would lead the world to peace, justice, and happiness. We have witnessed the exact opposite. The exchange of democracy for fascism, science for political position, and the rejection of Christianity for secularism has yielded nothing but anger, violence, bigotry, and stupidity. Just look at what's going on in the country and in the world. As Paul stated very clearly in Romans 1:18-32, when you exchange the truth of God for a lie, the result will be nothing short of wickedness, foolishness, and moral and spiritual darkness. Jesus said the world would become like this. He taught us that when it does, we were to be salt and light in the world. Our faithfulness, integrity, and truthful witness is the only hope the world has, because Jesus is the only hope the world has.